because it will create a more load on my PC, and again it will flick. Okay, so last part of this one, as a here. So first of all, it is already generating lot of heat. I got a new Bluetooth connectivity, MIVI Room 2 yesterday. Flipkart delivery. My sister purchased it for me. For mic and speakers are there. We got a problem that is I connected it and it is very slow working part. And then is it a recording? Oh,
This
okay.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay. No, wala. Okay. So what I'm saying is, once I done, so I disconnected my Bluetooth again. Immediately I got a blue screen error. That's why I didn't connect my Bluetooth again to my laptop. For mobile phone, it is working good. For a laptop, I'm getting call. Okay. Yeah. Virtual hard disk. I'm telling in a generally, not in a Hyper-V mode. Okay. So when we are having a certain kind of stuff like storage virtualization. Okay, that concept also included all these things. Okay, network virtualization is like a NIC teaming is there, like these are all things. Okay, so afternoon I will conclude. um, okay, so we'll see what is a virtual hard disk. It is a hard disk. It stores in your physical location. For example, I'm going to H drive. This is my physical hard disk, right? Can you see these two are virtual hard disk? Virtual hard disk in our physical machine is simply a file only. Very simple. I'm going to show you that one. See, it is my physical disk space, and I creating a virtual hard disk inside. When you connect this virtual hard disk, automatically this virtual hard disk work like a your physical hard disk only. So this is a virtual hard disk. So this is my virtual hard disk. So I can create, for example, main hard disk is, for example, this is my 500 GB uh, disk space. D drive, E drive, anything. For example, this is my D drive, main one. And here I creating a 10 GB virtual hard disk. I can create it. Okay, 10 GB virtual hard disk I am creating. When I creating, it is asking a format in a Microsoft. I'm using here Microsoft. So in a Microsoft, we have a two formats are there: VHD, VHDX. Okay. So VHD is up to VHD. It is available in a Windows 7. From Windows 8 onwards, VHDX is also there. VHD maximum we can create 2 terabytes. 2.2 it is showing. So 2.40 it like that it is showing. So it is max size of disk is 2 terabytes only. Okay, max size is 2 terabytes only. So this is not in a older version. It is introduced from Windows 8. Okay, it is introduced in Windows 8, and its support max size is 64 terabytes. Okay, 64 terabytes. Exactly say it support more than 2 terabytes, and max size is 64 terabytes. So these are the formats. Okay. Next, from Microsoft, and I'm telling other formats also there. Um, for example, if you go, okay, for example, if you are using VMware use vmdk. When you see vmdk, it is virtual machine related hard disk. For example, you use virtualbox. VirtualBox support different type of formats. VDI format. This is a virtual disk format. Okay. Um, Other formats like a vmdk format, VHD format, um, COW2 format. Okay. So in a Linux KVM and qemu, it is a virtualization platform in Linux. Where to put all these things? Okay. This is QCOW2. That is the one. Okay. If you are in a Linux virtualization like KVM, QEMU, it shows QCOW2. This is the virtual disk formats. Next, in generally, two type of disk are there. One is when you create a disk, so type of disk is a fixed disk. Another one is a dynamically expanding disk. Okay. So what is a fixed disk? So when you create a disk, it occupy space when disk is created. Okay. Dynamically expanding disk occupy space in physical disk. Space in physical disk. So based on data size in virtual disk. Okay. So that is a thing. So mainly two type of disk. Of course, Hyper-V will shows one more type of disk is there, that is called a parenting disk, parent and child disk, like that is called a differencing disk. But currently we'll see this one. So what is the fixed disk? Okay, what is a fixed disk? We'll see first one. So here is my 500 GB hard disk. Free space is there in this hard disk. I created 10 GB disk. So what is the free space? So think always like a final free space. Different ways of questioning is also there. So this is my free space is 500 GB. I created 10 GB hard disk. I created 10 GB fixed hard disk. This is a fixed. It means the data in this disk, the data in the disk is only 1 GB. Data in the disk is only 1 GB, for example. So this 10 GB already occupied in my 500 GB. It means um, free space is 500 GB currently. and it occupied 10 GB from it. Now I will get my free space is 490 GB currently. Understand? 500 GB free space, 10 GB data, 10 GB disk I created. Whatever the data contains, irrespective of data in the disk. Okay, this 10 GB will occupy from my free disk. So that is called a fixed disk. Another type of disk is dynamically expanding disk. Okay, dynamically expanding disk. So this is a dynamically expanding disk. Dynamically expanding disk. So here also I created a 10 GB, but it won't occupy 10 GB space. It won't occupy 10 GB space. Initially, its size is 4 MB only. Once you are creating all these things, maximum 160 MB, 200 MB, like that only. For example, in this disk, in this disk, I put a 1 GB data, or maybe yeah, 1 GB data. 1 GB data, I put it in this disk. Now, what happens here? I have a 490 GB free, right? So I have a currently 490 GB free space is there. Then 1 GB in my 10 GB virtual hard disk. So it means so 489 GB free space in the disk. It means 1 GB I put it, it occupy 1 GB. Now I add a 1 more GB means totally 2 GB in my 10 GB disk. It occupy only 2 GB only. Up to 10 GB we can able to put it. Up to 10 GB we can able to put it. So this is called a dynamically expanding disk. Understand guys? Fixed disk and dynamically expanding. Fixed means when you create a disk, automatically it will occupy the space. If you create a dynamically expanding disk, it occupy very less space. Okay. We don't require anything. Just I will show you in at least one practical. This is already some dynamically expanding disk is there. Mm. You have to go to disk management and or a disk part command. So command line tools I don't want to go. So I will go to disk part. Just look at here. I have a two disk are there. Disk 0, disk 1. Now I'm going to create a new. So go to action, create a VHD, create VHD. You can do it in your machine also, but be careful where you are creating. You have to remember VHDX format. See VHD up to 2 terabytes, VHDX up to 64 terabytes. It not there in a earlier of Windows 8 and 2012 server. Earlier means 2008, Windows 7 don't have this VHDX. Okay. Next, disk types are fixed and dynamically. Fixed. Virtual hard disk file is allocated to its maximum size when the virtual hard disk is created. Dynamically expanding, the virtual hard disk file grows to its maximum size as the data is written to the virtual hard disk. Okay, so that is location is H drive. So this drive only H drive, and I'm giving a name of that one. First, I'm going to create a dynamically expanding. Usually, I create okay. I put a V disk one, which is dynamically expanding dy type. So this is a dynamically expanding disk. Format I'm choosing VHDX, and I'm going to create 10 GB disk. Dynamically expanding. Now disk is created. I think yeah, disk is created. You can see in my H drive, and if you see the disk, the size is around 4 MB only. It is a 4 MB disk only. See, because it is not yet connected. So one by one step we can see. I'm going to attach the disk. Yeah, it is already attached. You can see 10 GB disk. Like, this is not a physical disk. It is a virtual disk, 10 GB disk. It is initialize the disk. Not at initialize. I'm going to initialize. When I initializing it, it will ask MBR or GPT. It is a MBR or a GPT type. So you can put a GPT or MBR, anything, no problem. Click OK. Now it is a created. See, basic disk. So it is showing basic disk, and it is a 10 GB disk online and not allocated. It means nothing is there. No partitions are created. And also you can see from here size is increased 69 GB. You can see it is 69 or around 70 GB, 70 MB, 68 MB. It is showing around 70 MB. Okay, the size increase little bit. No data, nothing. When I format, it will increase again. See, I'm creating new simple volume. Next, finish. So I'm not doing any things. It's NTFS only. I formatted it. Now I can put some data. Yeah, I drive. It is showing. So you can see this PC. I drive 10 GB drive. So it is not physically existing, but it is there in a physical disk space only. It is a virtual hard disk. It is a virtual hard disk. See, 10 GB. It is a virtual hard disk, and it exists in a physical drive. It is not a physical drive. It is in the physical drive. You can put a data in that one. What are the data you wanted? You can put it. Just for example, I'm copying some data there. So I copied some data here. Okay, data is there. See, some data I copied it. So where the data stores? Data stores here. For example, if I put a 2 GB data in that one, it occupies 2 GB in my H drive. Currently it is showing very less because it is very less size of the data I copied. It is only 164 because of after format, and maybe that 4 MB something for my internal data. So actually your disk is here and the drive is here when it is connected. Now what I'm going to do is I am detaching this one. Detach VHD. I detach VHD. So I removed my VHD. VHD is there. VHD is there here. It is here, but it is not connected. I ejected it. So where is the I drive? Drive is gone. The drive is gone. Yeah. Tell me. It is like a folder in a drive. No, no, no. It is like a file in the drive. Correct? You said correct, but only correction is it look like a file, right? This is the folder. It is look like a some file in the drive. Very good. Is anyone is trying to tell something? Okay, so you can attach the drive, means like you can go through it. Earlier Windows 7 we have to go to here, and you can attach VHD. You can go to VHD, attach VHD, and you have to give the path. But this is a Windows 8 8.110, so directly you can mount it. So this is my VHD. Click on mount. Okay, and data is displaying here. Can see I drive is came up 10 GB, and this is the data which I copied it. So data is there in the disk, like how it is stored in your hard disk, it's stored in your disk. But when you are attached, we can view it. When you detach, you can't see it. That's it. But data is still there in the virtual hard disk only. Understood the point, guys? So I attached it, so it is showing here. First time only, first fresh hard disk only, it will shows initializing a disk, but later on days it shows like this. It automatically connects. Whenever you see converted to mbr, it means disk is gpt. See, it is showing converted to gpt, it means disk is mbr disk. Okay, I'm going to create another vhdx, browse h drive. Here vdisk 2, but it is a fixed type. Okay, and I'm creating small disk, because if I create a 10 GB disk, it take lot of time. So I'm creating a very simple 2 GB fixed disk. So I'm selecting fixed disk. I given a name and location, 2 GB and vhdx fixed. Okay, it will take time for creating. So it is creating, because it has to occupy 2 GB from your place, like it is copying 2 GB space from there. So it is 181 currently. It is going to be reduced, say 179. It means it took a 2 GB from it. So this is, if you see here, it is size is already showing around 2. I'm going to properties of it. See, 2 GB directly it is showing. So when I created dynamic disk, it is showing starting only 4 MB, but it is showing starting only it is 2 GB. So how much data you can put it? Up to 2 GB can put it. But how much data you putting it in it? Okay, no difference, you don't feel much difference next, because it is already occupied 2 GB from it, from my physical storage. Next we have to format it, right? So 2 GB initialization, mbr or gpt. Okay, next, this is new simple volume. Next, I'm not creating any partitions there. If I want, I will create it. You can do partitioning also. You can do partitioning also. Now it is become a J drive. So can you see J drive now? If you see, it is a 2 GB properties. It's a 2 GB disk. Okay. What is the data inside? Nothing, no data inside. Okay. But if you see, it's a still 2 GB only. It is not increasing or not changing anything. Here, if you want to put some data in it, so I will put some data here. Okay, I put some data here. So where I put data here, but actually it stores here. Okay, so that is a virtual hard disk. Guys, understand difference between what fixed disk and dynamically expanding disk. Hmm? Anything? Okay. So this is about your fixed ticks and dynamically expanding disk. In Hyper-V, we have other options also there. It means if you have a Hyper-V, in Hyper-V, we are additionally other type of disk are there. So additional format is VHD set in a format. Okay. Another one is in the types. In the types, we have a differencing disk. Okay, we have a differencing disk. This is for a sharing purpose, disk sharing related one. Differencing is like a maintaining a differences. I will explain the differencing. Just try to understand differencing. In a differencing, we have a main disk. The disk contains a data. So main data. So that is called a parent disk. This disk we call it as a parent disk. It is also virtual hard disk only, but it contains some data. It contains some data. Data can be normal data or operating system, anything you can put it. OS, applications, anything you put it. On top of this one, we create other disk. Okay. So this disk we call it as a child disk. This disk we call it as a child. CHILD. That's it. It's a child disk. Okay. So like this, multiple child disk we can able to create it. Like a child one, mm, child two, child 3. So like that, multiple child disk we can create on this one. So what happens here? So whatever the data in the parent disk, it will display in the child disk. So if whenever you connect a child disk, you can see parent disk data. If you modify the data in the child disk, it won't modify in the parent. What happen? If you modify the data in the child disk, it won't modify in the parent. If you modify the data in the child disk, that won't affect on other disk. It won't affect on other childs also. Okay. Each child maintain parents data, and if you modify, it means you are add or delete or a change of data, the data won't be altered. So that is called a differencing disk. That is called a differencing disk. This is what I'm telling, differencing disk. Okay, that's it. Fixed disk, dynamic disk, dynamically expanding disk. These kind of disks we can able to do it in your Windows 10 also, no problem. But you want to do differencing kind of stuff, it's only available in Hyper-V environment. Okay, so that's it about your virtual hard disk. So you want to write down so about it, so you can find from here. So it is a VHD, VHDX, and also I've written some text on it. So same thing only, whatever it is written, I write here. Okay, and remaining how to do it, I showed it now, so then you can try. Okay, guys, understood this one or not? It is very simple one. That's why I'm asking two, three times. If it is a difficult one, even I don't ask. Like just only one time only I will ask. Okay.